What would you do if your children slowly stopped coming home? Not because they didn't love you, but because life became louder than family. At 76, Daniel never imagined that the quietest sound in his house would become the one that hurt the most. It wasn't the ticking clock. It wasn't the empty hallway. It was the silence around a dinner table built for 6, where only one chair was ever used. Stay with me, because before this story ends, one ordinary Sunday dinner will change an entire family forever. Every Sunday morning for more than 40 years, Daniel Brooks woke up before sunrise. The habit began when he was a young father working at a local furniture factory. Even after retiring, his body still refused to sleep late. He would quietly make a pot of coffee, open the kitchen window, and watch the first light spread across the backyard. The maple tree he planted when his oldest son was born had grown taller than the roof. Time, he often thought, was a strange gardener. It grew everything except the moments we wished would last. His wife, Margaret, used to join him every Sunday. She would hum old songs while mixing pancake batter. Their 3 children would race downstairs, arguing over who got the first pancake shaped like a rabbit. The kitchen was once so noisy that Daniel dreamed of having just one peaceful morning. Now, peace was all he had. Margaret had passed away 5 years earlier after a long illness. The children had built successful lives in different cities. Michael became an architect. Emily owned a small bakery. Jacob worked overseas as an engineer. Daniel was proud of every one of them. He never complained, not even when weeks became months between visits. Whenever neighbors asked whether his children visited often, he always smiled. They're busy. He truly believed that. Life had been busy for him once too. Still, every Sunday, Daniel cooked enough food for 6 people. Roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, fresh bread, apple pie. The same menu Margaret had prepared for decades. He arranged 6 plates on the dining table, 6 glasses, 6 folded napkins, every single Sunday. Around 3 o'clock, he would begin checking the driveway whenever he heard a passing car. At 4, he reheated the food. At 5, he poured another cup of coffee. By 6, he quietly placed 5 untouched meals into containers and stored them in the refrigerator. Monday morning, he delivered most of them to an elderly shelter nearby. The volunteers often thanked him. They assumed he simply enjoyed cooking. Daniel never explained. One rainy Sunday in October, something unusual happened. As Daniel reached for the family photo hanging beside the staircase, a small envelope slipped from behind the frame. He frowned. He had never seen it before. Written across the front, in Margaret's handwriting, were 4 words. For Daniel, not yet. His heart began to race. Margaret's handwriting. 5 years after her passing, with trembling hands, he opened the envelope. Inside was a single folded letter. It read, "My dear Daniel, if you're reading this, it means enough time has passed. I know you. You're still setting 6 plates every Sunday. Please don't deny it." Daniel smiled through tears. She knew him too well. The letter continued, "Our children love you. But love can become buried beneath responsibility. Don't wait for them to remember what matters. Sometimes parents must gently remind their children where home still is. Promise me one thing. Invite them. Not because you're lonely. Invite them because families slowly drift apart without anyone noticing. Someone has to be the bridge. At the bottom of the page was one final sentence. This may become the most important Sunday of their lives. Daniel folded the letter carefully. For nearly an hour, he simply sat in silence. He had always believed he should never disturb his children's busy lives. He didn't want to become another obligation, another appointment on a crowded calendar. But perhaps Margaret was right. Perhaps silence could create a distance even greater than miles. That evening, Daniel picked up his phone. His finger hovered over Michael's number for almost a minute before pressing call. His oldest son answered immediately. "Dad, everything okay?" Daniel almost said yes. Almost. Instead, he took a slow breath. "I was wondering, would you and your family like to come for dinner next Sunday?" There was a brief silence. Then Michael answered softly, "I'll see what we can do." The same answer Daniel had heard many times before. He thanked his son and hung up. Next, he called Emily. She sounded exhausted. The bakery had been busy. She apologized twice before Daniel even finished asking. "I'll try, Dad." Then Jacob. The international time difference made the call difficult. "I'm not sure I can get away from work." 3 conversations, 3 uncertain answers. Daniel understood, or at least he told himself he did. The following week passed slowly. Still, every morning he polished the dining table. He ironed the tablecloth Margaret had embroidered years ago. He washed the windows. He even repaired the loose step on the front porch. On Saturday afternoon, his next-door neighbor, Mrs. Wilson, noticed him trimming the hedges. "Expecting company?" Daniel smiled. "I hope so." She looked toward the freshly cleaned porch. "Family," he nodded. "I've learned something recently." "Oh, the hardest invitations to accept are sometimes the ones we need the most." Mrs. Wilson smiled gently. "I hope they come." "So do I." Sunday finally arrived. Daniel woke before dawn. He prepared breakfast, then lunch, then dinner. The aroma of roasted herbs filled the house exactly as it had decades earlier. At noon, he placed 6 white plates on the dining table. He adjusted each fork until it was perfectly straight. By 2 o'clock, everything was ready. At 3, no cars. At 4, still nothing. Daniel looked at the old grandfather clock. Its steady ticking suddenly sounded louder than ever before. He quietly walked into the living room and looked at Margaret's photograph. "I tried," he whispered. Then, just as he turned away from the window, a car pulled into the driveway, then another and another. Daniel's heart skipped a beat. He hurried to the front door, but when he opened it, the first person standing on the porch wasn't one of his children. It was a young woman he had never seen before. She smiled nervously and held out a small box wrapped in blue paper. "I'm sorry to arrive before everyone else," she said. "My name is Sophie, and I think my grandfather knew your wife." Daniel stood frozen in the doorway, one hand still gripping the brass handle. Behind the young woman, rainwater shimmered across the driveway. Three cars sat there with their headlights dimmed by the evening mist. For a moment, Daniel could not decide which surprised him more, the stranger on his porch or the unmistakable sight of his children's cars parked side by side for the first time in years. The young woman lifted the blue-wrapped box slightly. "I hope I'm not interrupting," she said. "No," Daniel replied, finding his voice. "Please, come in." As Sophie stepped across the threshold, another car door opened. "Dad." Michael hurried toward the porch, holding an umbrella over his wife and teenage daughter. A second voice followed. "Sorry, we're late." Emily emerged from her car carrying a paper bag that smelled faintly of cinnamon. Then, from the far end of the driveway, a tall figure closed a travel bag and looked up with a tired smile. Jacob. Daniel blinked twice, afraid the moment might disappear. For years he had imagined this reunion. In every version, he knew exactly what he would say. Instead, he whispered, "You came." Michael hugged him first. Emily wrapped her arms around both of them. Jacob stepped onto the porch last and rested a hand on his father's shoulder. "Wouldn't miss Sunday dinner," he said quietly. Something loosened inside Daniel's heart. The house quickly filled with familiar sounds. Wet shoes by the door, coats over chairs, Emily laughing because the kitchen still smelled exactly the same. Lily wandering through the rooms, studying old photographs, and Jacob standing silently by the window, taking in the home he had not seen for nearly 3 years. Sophie remained near the entrance, unsure where she belonged. Daniel turned to her. "You said your grandfather knew Margaret?" She nodded. "His name was Arthur Bennett." Daniel searched his memory before his eyes widened. "Arthur from the public library?" "Yes. He passed away this spring. While cleaning his apartment, I found a note with your address. It wrote that if I was ever nearby, I should bring this here." She handed Daniel the blue box. The room fell silent. Daniel slowly untied the ribbon. Inside rested a small wooden music box, polished smooth by time. Beneath it lay a folded card. "For Margaret and Daniel, keep singing." Daniel drew in a slow breath. "Arthur made this," he whispered. Emily stepped closer. "Mom's friend from the library?" Daniel nodded. "When your mother and I first got married, we had almost nothing. Arthur built this music box as our wedding gift. I thought we'd lost it decades ago." He carefully opened the lid. A soft melody floated through the room. It was Margaret's favorite song. No one spoke. Even the rain outside seemed quieter. Lily looked up. Grandma used to sing this?" Emily smiled through tears. Every Sunday morning, the melody continued gently, filling the silence that had lived in the house for years. Dinner was finally served. 6 white plates. For the first time in years, every chair around the table was occupied. Daniel looked around slowly, Michael carving the chicken, Emily passing warm bread, Jacob pouring water, Lily asking endless questions, Sophie smiling shyly after Emily insisted she stay. For several minutes, the conversation flowed naturally. Then Michael placed his fork on the table. "Dad, I'm sorry." The room became still. "For what?" Daniel asked softly. Michael looked down. "For believing there would always be another Sunday." Emily swallowed hard. I kept telling myself I'd visit after the bakery got less busy. Jacob sighed, and I kept saying I'd come next month. Daniel listened quietly. Outside, raindrops tapped gently against the windows. Finally, he smiled. Life pulls all of us in different directions. Michael nodded. That's true, but we let it pull us too far. Nobody argued. Lily reached for another dinner roll. Can we do this again next Sunday? The adults exchanged surprised smiles. Emily laughed. You already have plans? Lily shrugged. This feels important. Daniel touched Margaret's letter inside his pocket. Families slowly drift apart without anyone noticing. Perhaps Margaret had known this day would come. After dessert, the rain stopped. The clouds opened just enough for a pale October moon. Lily found an old photo album beneath the coffee table. Come look. Everyone gathered around. There were camping trips, birthday parties, fishing mornings, school concerts, and faded pictures of 3 smiling children beside a much younger Daniel and Margaret. Jacob turned another page and stopped. The photograph showed this exact dining table. 6 plates, 6 smiling faces. On the back, Margaret had written only 3 words. Never skip Sunday. Jacob closed his eyes for a moment. Emily wiped away a tear. Michael cleared his throat. Daniel smiled gently. Your mother could be very persuasive. Lily looked around the room. So, are we skipping next Sunday? A quiet laugh spread across the table. Michael answered first. Not if I can help it. Me neither, Emily added. Jacob looked at his phone, then slipped it back into his pocket. I can postpone my flight for 2 days. Daniel looked surprised. You can? Jacob nodded. I think I've postponed the wrong things for long enough. The grandfather clock continued ticking in the hallway. But tonight, it no longer sounded lonely. Sophie gently turned the music box in her hands. There's one more thing. Everyone looked at her. My grandfather left another note. She unfolded a small piece of paper. It says, if the family gathers again, tell Daniel to look inside the music box before next Sunday. Daniel frowned. Inside? Sophie nodded. He underlined the words before next Sunday. Daniel lifted the music box. Hidden beneath the lid was a tiny brass panel he had never noticed before. Beside it, almost invisible after 40 years, was a carved date. October 18th, 1986. It was the exact anniversary of the coming Sunday. Daniel's heartbeat quickened. Whatever Arthur had hidden inside had been waiting nearly 40 years to be discovered. The room remained silent as Daniel carefully turned the music box over in his hands. For nearly 40 years, it had sat somewhere in the world waiting to return home. He gently pressed the tiny brass panel. With a soft click, a hidden compartment opened. Inside was a yellowed envelope, still perfectly folded despite the passing decades. Across the front, in Arthur's handwriting, were the words, "Open this only when the family is together again." Daniel looked around the table. Every seat was occupied. For the first time in years, the family was complete. He slowly unfolded the letter. Dear Daniel, if you are reading this, then something wonderful has happened. Your family is together again. Margaret asked me to keep this letter until the right time. She believed that one day your children would find their way home. Not because they were forced to, but because they finally remembered what home truly meant.